Hey guys, welcome back to Maple Mickey, and we want to talk about a bit of a Disney dilemma. How do you decide between the parks, Disney cruise, or going to a resort?
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. And here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future.
If this is your first time with us, welcome. I'm Lisa.
I'm Lucas.
We want to help bring some magic back to your vacation. Starting with, you've made the decision to go to Disney. Now, where do you go?
Going to California, you going to Disneyland? Are you going to Orlando? Are you going to Disney World?
Are you going international?
And then cruises, of course.
Yeah. Which ship do you go on? Do you just, you can't go wrong. So do you just take a dive into Disney Cruise Line as a whole? Or do you go to a resort? Do you go to Alani or one of the other Disney Vacation Club resorts, Hilton Head or Vero Beach? Or do you just do a staycation at Disney World and enjoy all the amenities that aren't in a park there?
So my job in all of this is to kind of sit back and listen, but also because I'm not a Disney nerd quite like Lisa is.
Sadly.
She may say some things that I don't understand, and so there's probably some of you watching as well. You hear some of this Disney lingo and you go, hold on, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And so along the way I might interject and bring some clarification. In terms of parks themselves,
Yes.
what are going to be the major differences between going to Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Paris, Disney...
Yeah, Tokyo Disney
Yeah.
Sea, or so there are the international parks, and that is pretty amazing. Like if you look at them, there are some crossover on rides that were developed there and brought here, or vice versa. So you'll see a little bit of crossover, but we have never done that. That is on our bucket list of places to go and things to do, and so. If you want to go internationally, there are so many great Disney information channels.
And if you have gone internationally, let us know what the experience was comparative to maybe more of a traditional, OG Disneyland experience or a Disney World experience. We'd love to know.
But what you just said is true. The OG Disneyland experience. I mean, Disneyland is the beginning of it all. And that's located in Anaheim, California. And so for us on the west coast of Canada, that's a pretty easy park for us to get to. Where if you're on the east coast, you maybe grew up going more to Disney World. Now, while Disneyland is a smaller footprint overall, they kind of learned from their mistakes when they were purchasing land for Walt Disney World. There are a pretty comparative amount of rides and attractions in Disneyland comparative to Disney World.
Now Disneyland is two parks.
It is two parks. So it's Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. And they are literally across from each other. There's this esplanade, or this little courtyard in the middle that is beautiful and pumping Disney music, and it's magical. But you can walk between them, which makes Disneyland a really nice park if you want to do a park hopper, so you're able to go back and forth, or you have little kids and you know that they're going to want to re-ride their favorite rides and they're not going to understand that, we're not in that park today.
Hey, quick caveat. You said park hopper. What do you mean? What's a park hopper?
So there are different types of tickets. So there's a 1 park per day ticket, or you can get a park hopper ticket that allows you to go into multiple parks each day. And so that's something that we'll address in a future video as to kind of what ticket do you actually need.
Now, how many parks Disney World? Because it's a whole different monster.
Absolutely.
Disney
it's
World
so
is
big.
The scale of it is about the size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's very big, and it has its own complexities because of how big it is.
Yeah.
But how many parks, and what's some things to think about kind of big picture when planning a Disney World vacation?
Yeah, so Disney World, on the other hand, is huge. It is 4 theme parks and 2 water parks. And again, it is all of the land. There's like nature preserve, there's shopping district, there's a lot of things, but all of the land is about the size of Manhattan, which means that you are going to have to take transportation between parks if you were kind of hoping to do that park hopping thing. And so it is a little bit of just a trickier component to a Disney World vacation. But because it is 4 parks and 2 water parks, and Disney Springs is significantly larger, that's the shopping district at Disney World, than downtown Disney is at Disneyland, you really can spend the duration of your trip on Disney World property. Unlike, I mean, you could in Disneyland, so not unlike Disneyland, but there are so many other things to do at Disneyland. You could go to Knott's Berry Farm. You could go to Universal Studios Hollywood. You could drive into Hollywood and do some cool things like the Warner Brothers studio. There's so many great beaches nearby. If you want a vacation where Disney is just a part of it, Disneyland is really, really easy to do that. Where with 4 parks, if you spend 1 park a day, you're almost at a week-long vacation right there at Disney World. So if you want to be fully in the Disney bubble, Disney World's a great kind of go-to. And if you want to have Disney but still some time to be able to do other things, Disneyland is a great go-to for that.
So let's talk stage of life, because I think that in terms of the parks in particular, stage of life, depending on your family, your dynamic, are you just adults? Are you going as a single person? Are you going as just a married couple? Or are you going with little kids or teenagers? I think it makes a bit of a difference factoring in.
For sure.
So let's talk families, young kids. What do you recommend in terms of parks?
Okay, so you cannot, let me just caveat, you can't go wrong regardless of your stage of life. Any coast. If you go to Disneyland on the West Coast or Disney World on the East Coast, you're gonna have a great vacation. But again, that size factor does come into play a little bit. If you have little ones that have little legs, Disneyland is a little bit more compact. You're not walking very far between rides. Also, the crowds tend to be a little bit smaller at Disneyland than they are at Disney World. Now, there's some natural factors, like Christmas is Christmas everywhere. New Year's is New Year's everywhere. But it is a little bit easier to enjoy your vacation at Disneyland with littles. Also, hotels are much closer. You are walking distance to your hotel. So those nap times become really doable, where at Disney World, you're gonna have to take a bus or a gondola, the Skyliner, or something to get back to your hotel, and that might be a factor to really consider. Yeah,
just the added complexities of a very large park in Disney World in terms of the land and everything.
Yes.
So what about Disney adults? And let's when we say adults, let's also kind of include maybe families with teenagers, because we're getting close enough.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on parks in that kind of demographic?
For sure. So let me just do my caveat again. Regardless of which park you go to, you're going to have an amazing time. Now, if you are somebody like me that is a Disney nerd, there is nothing like walking into Walt's Park. There is nothing like walking down Main Street, USA, and looking over at the fire hall and seeing the light on in his honor. There's nothing like knowing that he rode the ride that you're on. It's very special. It is very emotional. It is just full of that nostalgia factor.
So you'll be impressed with this.
Okay.
I know that Walt Disney from time to time would go and run the train.
He would.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
He was a big fan of trains. In fact, he even had like a train in his backyard at his house because he loved the train so much. But let's get back on track. So it is very special in Disneyland. And there are some very fun rides in Disneyland. Absolutely. And they kind of do, when they do their different like special things, like Heritage Months, honoring different nationalities, Their food is spectacular. But there is just something about some of the additional parks in Walt Disney World. Like, I'm thinking mostly about Epcot, that is very appealing to adults.
Yes. Yeah.
It kind of takes you beyond just the let's go on the rides to like let's walk around World Showcase and try different food and drinks from all of these countries, and the ability to be immersed in a park for a day, whether you ride a single ride or not, and enjoy yourself, I think is a little bit better at Disney
absolutely.
World.
Epcot, in terms of adulting, is certainly immersive. It's experiential. You're eating around the world. You're drinking around the world. You're taking in the sights and the smells and the sounds of kind of different cultures
and architecture.
And they capture it beautifully. So I would totally agree. Epcot, as an adult, is an experience for sure that I don't know if you'd find too many other places.
No, and Epcot's not alone. Like, Animal Kingdom is also very cool. It's very cool if you have kids who love animals. Yeah. But as an adult too, again, they went to these different countries and continents and brought back things. It's again one of those places where you could not ride a single ride and walk around for an entire day and feel like you had a very cool experience. Being immersed in these cultures, and in a way that's not fantasy, like in a way that feels very authentic and honoring to the different cultures represented.
That's very cool. So let's talk then, let's kind of switch gears and let's talk about Disney Cruise. Because
love it.
Disney Cruise, it's a completely different vacation.
It is.
In so many ways. And so let's talk about Disney Cruise. Why might you, instead of going to the parks, why might you consider going on a Disney Cruise? And what are the kind of the pros and cons of that?
Yeah. Well, Disney is famous for their service. Like, regardless of where you go, Disney is kind of top notch on family and service. And that is fully on display on the cruise line. Like, it is unsurpassed.
It really is next level. Yeah.
And so I think if you are hoping for a little bit more of that personal touch, you're not just one of many guests in a park, you are a specific family, and you want something that's maybe a little bit more restful, but still has that Disney magic, a Disney Cruise is ideal.
Yes.
They have the storytelling, they have the theming that's present at the parks. They have characters just wandering the halls in pajamas at night that you just bump into.
If you love interacting with characters, I would say Disney Cruise gives you way more access than even Disney parks do.
Yes. I mean, Disneyland still has free roaming characters, which is awesome. We miss that at Disney World. But Disney Cruise does it on a whole new level. Yeah. I went on a tour once on Disney Cruise Line, and they were saying they have so intentionally thought about how much time families want to spend together and how much time they want to spend apart, and they've fostered experiences for both to happen well. And so the kids clubs, including the preteen and teen clubs on Disney Cruise Line, are next level. Our kids did not want to leave. Like, we came to pick them up to hear all about the story of how Peter Pan literally came into the club and told them his own story, and could they please stay because Snow White was coming to teach them how to dance the do-si-do, and they didn't want to come with us. And even our last cruise with 2 teenagers, we barely saw them.
Our kids we didn't even know where our kids were half the time.
They were having so much fun in the Hero Zone on the Wish and like doing all of the activities at Vibe. Like, they had an incredible time. And so there is so much for your family to do so that you get to enjoy the Cove Cafe and the Rainforest Room. Like, as an adult, Disney Cruise Line does not forget you.
Yeah, they're very intentional. Our first Disney cruise, I was really worried. I'm not the biggest like Disney fan all in like she is. And so I'm along for the ride in a lot of cases, but I've been pleasantly surprised over the years Our first cruise, I thought it was going to be absolutely obnoxious, over the top Disney all the time. And they did such a good job of striking a balance between Disney magic and environments and immersive experiences, but also just being just kind of a place of luxury and rest and relaxation. They struck that balance so well, and so it wasn't obnoxious Disney. It was very subtle and well constructed and well thought out.
Yeah, it's a very elegant experience. I mean, if you go on the Disney, I believe it's the Disney Magic, it might be the Disney Wonder, but they have some of the prototypes of decorations that they had kind of thought of. And there are some that are straight in your face, like over the top, color everywhere, very Disney World Value Resort looking decor. And instead, they chose to go with this very timeless, teak, nautical, like steamboat cruises of the past feel that is elevated for an adult, but with all these hidden Mickey and Disney touches that make it still really fun for kids and for preteens and for the whole family. And so it is great. It is relaxing. The food is great.
Yeah, like, it's phenomenal food.
It is an all-inclusive experience. There are a few things that you need to pay extra for, like if you go specialty dining or specialty beverages, your shore excursions, but you could really go on a Disney cruise and not spend a penny extra.
Yeah.
And have an amazing, relaxing vacation.
So if you're looking for more of a rest, more of just a step away from the crazy busy of life, Disney Cruise really is a great option.
It is.
So let's talk now Disney resorts.
Yes.
Because, whether you're going to the parks or you're going somewhere and you look at the resorts and you go, okay, it is a premium, and we'll talk about but it is a premium. You can certainly go to these places cheaper if you want to. And we'll talk about that in future videos. But in terms of resorts, what are the perks of a resort? Why would one decide to go to a resort, a Disney resort?
Yeah, so whether, again, it's a Disney Vacation Club property like Aulani, a Disney resort in Hawaii, or Vero Beach, or Hilton Head, or you just decide that you're gonna go to Disney World or Disneyland and you're gonna stay in one of those Disney hotels but not go to the parks. There are so many reasons that you could do that, and you could have an incredible vacation. Now, obviously, those three that I mentioned at the top, Aulani, Vero Beach, and Hilton Head, they are not combined with a park. So they have a daily schedule of so many activities and different fun things that you can do at the resort that is thought out. But it might surprise you to know that that happens at all of the Disney resorts as well. They have tours and they have pool parties and movies under the stars. They have so much that's happening every single day that you could stay at your resort and be quite entertained without ever stepping foot off site. But again, you do have those shopping districts. You do have downtown Disney at Disneyland, and you do have Disney Springs at Disney World. And maybe less so for downtown Disney, but Disney Springs could absolutely take a full day. If you wanted to sit and kind of watch some of the streetmosphere, like the different musical acts, if you just want to people watch, you could spend a good chunk of time there. And Disney World specifically has some other hidden things. Like they have golf courses and they have mini golf and they have all of these different things that you could fill your vacation time with too. So it's a little bit less running around like a parks vacation, but you're still immersed in the theming and the story and kind of that energy of the parks.
Now again, to bring a little bit of balance to this, one thing to note is if you go to a Disney resort and you're not familiar with the Disney product as resorts, they are not all inclusive. So if you're used to going to, Cancun or Mexico or the Mayan Riviera and being in an all-inclusive resort, that is not quite the experience you're going to have in a resort.
Yeah.
There are some things you got to think about in terms of budget
Yeah, if you're gonna do a resort vacation or like a staycation at a park, you will have to think through your dining. And that is extra complicated if you are staying, again, at Disneyland or Disney World. Then you are gonna need to think about doing those My Disney Experience reservations. And again, we'll touch base on all of that in a future video, but there are days that you need to put on your calendar to make sure that you make those dining reservations, or you're not going to be dining at that location. And so there is a complexity to it, again, that isn't really present on cruise line, but it's just a different vacation. So if you want restful and full in rest, cruise line is the way to go. If you want rest with some of that energy and the like vibrancy of at a parks, it's gonna be a little bit of extra work, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
And then do a resort stay.
Yeah, so with all of these options, what we would recommend is getting a travel agent that specializes in Disney. Lisa used to do this. She is full-time with us now, so it's hard to do it all. But highly recommend, because it's no extra charge to you, but the convenience and all the questions that can be answered and some of those booking dates that she was referring to, that'll be taken off your plate. But we highly recommend find a Disney specialist, because they're gonna help you so much along the way.
Absolutely. And sometimes you even get some perks of working with them. Maybe you'll get some onboard credit on Disney Cruise Line, or a gift card that will show up in your hotel room on a park stay. And so it's absolutely worth it to get that expert advice. Also, if 2020 taught us anything, it's that you do not want to be the one sitting on hold with Disney for 3 days. But you know who will do that for you? Your travel agent. And so we're big fans of booking with a travel agent. We personally use Erica at Enchanted Vacations.
Yeah, so Disney dilemma. What do you do?
If you want to be able to do a little bit more in your trip outside of Disney, or you really want to touch on the nostalgia, Disneyland is a great place for you to go. If you want a one-stop shop kind of fun park experience, Disney World is going to be second to none. If you want an all-inclusive, very relaxing feel and still be able to see different parts of the world, Disney Cruise Line is your best bet. And then lastly, if you want that kind of relaxed vacation, but still be able to do things on your schedule and your timeline with some of the hum that happens just from the activity of Disney, then you want a resorts vacation.
This is just a framework. You have to make the decision. But if you have any questions or comments about this, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Any questions that you might have that we can bring some clarification to, we'll be in those comments answering any questions you have.
And we would love to hear from you. What is your next Disney vacation destination? Leave that below. We want to know.